What is up, savvy strangers? I was trying to think of a decent word that started with S, and all the ones I could think of were kind
savvy.
of insulting, so I didn't want to do that.
Let's not insult our listeners on the last episode of
the season.
Yeah, 5,
So what is up, savvy strangers? As always, welcome to the Strange Sessions. I am Kurt, or as my students call me when I turn my cap sideways, Swaggy K.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, who has put up with me for the last 5 seasons, the lovely Krista.
Good morning and thank you.
Cantankerous Krista.
Cantankerous Krista.
Cantankerous Krista.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever known you to be cantankerous.
Define cantankerous.
It's crabby.
Oh. Yeah, I try not to be crabby.
No, I don't think I've ever really seen you crabby.
I get hangry.
Canker sore Krista.
I've never had a canker sore.
Oh, canker sores suck.
Before I forget.
Hang on, is my thing going up? Hello? Yep, okay.
Yep. If you are just tuning in for the first time and you don't want to sit through the titillating 20 where we do a taste test, welcome new strangers to the Facebook page.
Or if you don't want to sit and listen to Kurt talking so you can see if his lights go on the soundboard.
Yeah. All that. Check the show notes and Kurt will post the actual start time of the topic. So we won't be insulted if you skip through this.
No, because we skipped through other people's.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to listen to it either.
Yeah.
Some people call this the favorite part of their show, actually.
I'm amazed that people do listen to us
babble about the weather. We haven't even talked about the weather yet.
Thank God it hasn't snowed, that we haven't had a snow warning about me coming down here.
I'm glad not while you're... Yes, I'm glad we haven't had bad weather when you're driving down here, but I need snow so bad. Ugh. I love snow, and it is brown and green here. We have nothing.
And muddy outside.
It snowed for a little while. Was it yesterday morning? And it was really pretty west of here, and then it all melted.
By 10 a.m.
That's just the story of the weather, especially near the lake.
Yeah.
Lake Michigan. But
it's funny
warm.
because I heard back in summer they said this was going to be an unusually mild winter, or at least the start of it, and they weren't wrong.
I just need snow for Christmas.
Pee on snow. That's what I think. I don't like snow.
I don't like yellow snow.
I don't like yellow snow either. Want to give some shout outs to our newest strangers, and we only have 2. Jeffrey Grivna and Peter Bork, or Bork. Bourke. Would that be?
I'd say Bork.
Bork?
I don't know.
Peter Bork. So thank you guys.
Peter B.
Thank you guys so much for joining the strangers.
Welcome to our strange family.
We did not accept the people that just answer yes to all 3 questions because that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Problematic, yeah.
That's problematic. So thank you guys, Jeffrey and Peter. Thank you guys so much for joining the strangers. Do we have any housekeeping that Krista wants to talk about?
Oh, yeah. So I believe I've identified where I'm going to move all of our episodes over the break. Podbean is probably what I'm going to do.
Podbean.
The only thing I'm struggling with is I don't know. I'm assuming I'm going to have to go to the admin side of our website and extract all the MP3s. And then I'm going to have to upload them to the new website.
I have all of our MP3s.
Can you put them on the drive?
No, but I can put them on a flash drive when I come to give you
the PlayStation.
Yeah, when I let you use my PlayStation.
I think so. The thing I'm struggling with is we may or may not have a Christmas episode that's still coming out, and I don't want to mess with our feed.
Yeah.
When we still have an episode.
Yes,
to
I
release.
totally didn't think about that.
And I wanted to get all this done before Christmas, but now I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm going to be working on this in January, I think. So.
Because we're not going to start re-recording until the end of January.
So if you, I get we could have this conversation offline.
We could.
Well, I guess the last episode I said I'm going to try to transfer everything to Podbean right after this episode comes out, but I don't think that's going to be the case because I don't want to interrupt our feed or the listener experience.
But no, I have every episode we've done because it's always my dream that somebody's going to be like, Kurt and Krista, I love your podcast, but I can't listen to it for some reason, but I can listen to it on a flash drive in my car. So could you put all the MP3s of every episode? And I'd be like, yes, and I will send it to you. But nobody's done that.
Yeah, well, if you could put them on a flash drive, then I think maybe that'll make my life easier. Cool. I hope that this website has like a click, drag, and drop format. That would be amazing, but we'll find out.
Because I'm not really good with that stuff.
Like that's really my only housekeeping. Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely be less present on social media during our break.
Yeah, Krista's generally gone off social media during Christmas.
Looking forward to that. I need a break.
I don't think I have any housekeeping, really. I mean, we'll talk about it being the season finale, I think more towards the end.
Okay.
But yeah, 5 seasons.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah, so we'll just jump right into taste tests.
Okay.
Like I just told Krista when I came in the house, I think it's cool that we have 3 items today to taste test, and 2 of them are from one of my students, Emily, who I just absolutely adore, and it was her birthday yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, Emily.
So happy birthday, Emily. And she got us a couple things, and my cousin's daughter, Cora, has gotten us stuff in the past. She got us some more things.
I recognize the name.
So thank you, Cora, for
Yes,
the stuff you got us, and it's just cool that kids got us our stuff today. One of these I am super stoked about.
And you're not sure if I'm going to be stoked
I'm not sure if you're
going
to be stoked about it because I don't know if you have an issue with this like some people do.
Okay. We'll find out. I'm game to try anything.
The first one we're going to try from Emily. Emily got this from, I believe, an Asian market in town.
Okay.
And it is, I've seen this, but it is yan chocolate cream and spread, like shortbread sticks.
I wonder if this is like Nutella.
No, it just says chocolate fudge. Let me look at the ingredients, but because Nutella I can't eat.
Nutella has hazelnuts in it.
It has rapeseed oil, which is a disturbing name. No, I think we should be good.
Okay.
I think we should be good.
Take a picture of this.
This is going to be delicious. I have no doubts.
I have a feeling it's all.
I think it's going to taste like Pockies, and I love Pockies. Pockies are like sticks that are like dipped in some kind of frosting, and they have like a billion different flavors. There's like a green tea one that's really good. You've never had a Pocky?
I don't think so.
Dang.
It doesn't sound familiar. Okay. I'm going to pop this baby open. Oh, interesting. Oh, it smells like, I hope it's not like Nutella because it actually smells just like Nutella.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm just taking pictures. Okay, I'm going to take a stick and I'm going to dip that stick. Oh, I broke the stick. It scared me a little. Okay. You'd think it would say hazelnut chocolate cream.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells so good.
I have no doubt this is going to be delicious.
My stick says horse.
Mine says rhinoceros nose horn.
Wow. Oh, I think
Fun
there's
animal
more.
name games on each stick. It's cool that they print stuff on these sticks.
Horse. My neighbor or something. I have fudge covering half of it. So I don't know what it says.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh.
It's like so creamy.
That's really good. That's actually better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like that the cookie part
I like the
doesn't have a lot of flavor.
No, but it's good. I love the cookie part. I think I would like that even without the cream. That's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Easily. Oh my God, that's so good.
It's so good. I need another one.
Yeah. That is delicious.
Wow. The cookie part almost reminds me of a Ritz cracker. It's kind of buttery.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Okay.
This makes up for all the crappy Mexican we've been
everything.
tasting.
Yeah, because I told you at the funeral that one that I was sucking on last time where you had to push it up.
Yeah. It got spicy.
Yeah, that I was eating it the next day driving around. I'm like, why is my tongue hurting? And I finally looked and there's red flakes in there, and I looked and it's cayenne pepper. It's like
Hilarious.
everything in that thing is
Came
spicy.
back to bite you. That's delicious. 10 out of 10.
That is a 10 out of 10.
Yum.
This next one is from Cora.
Okay.
And I don't know what this is.
Interesting.
I don't know where she got. I think she got this in Florida. Kachas.
Sausage herring.
I think it's like gummy.
I don't know.
It's like gummy herring, like
oh my
gummy
God,
fish.
This could be really scary.
I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's licorice flavored.
It's black, so it does make you think. Well, it's vegan. Why did I turn my flashlight?
Yeah, it's Kachi's brand sausage herring.
Yeah. I'm
It's
usually a
cute.
little nervous about stuff I can't pronounce. They're cute though. Okay, should I rip
Yeah,
this bad boy open?
both Cora and Emily got us other things too, so we're gonna save those for the beginning of next year. I checked the expiration date on everything. Well, Krista just gave me like a smirk, so I don't know what that smirk means. Ooh, that is black licorice.
Take a picture of this little guy.
It is a black licorice. It looks like it's almost like a Swedish
a little
fish.
Yeah, it does look like a Swedish fish. That's black and covered in sugar. Okay, are you ready? Okay. It's not bad. The black licorice thing has weirdly grown on me. I can't explain it.
This is...
It's not bad.
No. This is almost a good black licorice.
It's not super strong.
And I like that it's sugared on the outside. I'm even going to eat another one. Okay.
There's a good, like, aftertaste.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 9, actually.
I'm actually going to give it a 9, too.
Which surprises me because I don't like black licorice things. But this...
It's grown on me, I got to say. I think that's good.
It's...
The sugary coating on the outside helps, too.
But this is like a different... There's like... I almost want to say there's like 2 different flavors of black licorice that I can think of. Like one is nasty and one is this. And this is good.
I think one is probably artificial.
Yeah.
And maybe this is made with like
I really
actual
actually like
black
those.
licorice. I'm good.
Maybe black licorice is growing on me too.
Yeah, I don't know. Our palates are maturing or something.
Because I'm sure not.
This cannot stay down here open like that.
Oh my God. I really like that.
You can take that home.
No, you can have the cream one.
Okay.
I'll take the
black
unless
licorice?
you want the black licorice.
No.
I'll take that. That's really
I just don't
good.
want anything left open down here.
Oh, thank you
I'm a
so much,
little
Cora.
gun shy after the ant incident.
We still have some stuff from Cora and Emily at home. I checked the expiration dates. They're going to be
They're
good.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
to wait until the beginning, maybe
and
our
everything
first
we
episode
have
of the
over
new
there
season.
is
Yeah.
good until the next season too.
So Cora, thank you so much for sending us
Yes,
this
thank
stuff. We're
you.
going to eat your other stuff at the beginning of next season.
Yum yum.
And this one is also from Emily, my student Emily, who I adore. And
Okay.
I'm excited about this.
I don't know how to feel
I have
yet.
been excited about this since she gave it to me. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Maybe.
Brown sugar bubble tea.
Oh.
Like
I love tea.
but some people have a really hard
love
time
brown
with
sugar.
bubble tea.
I don't know what bubble tea is. Is it carbonated
No,
tea?
but it has like tapioca pearls in it and
What? Oh.
like what's
I've had chia tea before. Have you ever had chia seed tea where it's all jelly and you almost have
this
to
is like
chew it?
bigger but like think of big tapioca bubbles.
Okay.
But some people, like I have friends that would rather drink someone else's bath water than drink anything that has because they have like texture issues.
No, I think if I like chia beverages, I will like this. Do you have to shake it or anything?
Yeah.
You
But
do?
I just think
Oh,
this sounds
serve chilled,
like something
shake
I would love. Brown sugar. Did you take a picture of it?
That's me shaking.
Brown sugar, shaking like a Polaroid picture. Brown sugar bubble tea.
Fun side note, I had a coworker who thought the lyrics to that
I
line
think you told us this on
were
there.
shake it like a corduroy pizza. And I was like, what planet are you from that you would think that would be the lyrics? Okay, I'm going to open it. You're making a face. It said shake well.
Okay.
Okay.
I am so excited
Slightly
about this
scary.
because I love brown sugar
I do
things.
too. Oh, yep. It's kind of ploppy.
It's kind of ploppy.
I mean, I don't see any chunks though. Am I supposed to see chunks?
I think
Hope they're
so.
not like all at the bottom. I shook it well.
Yeah. Are you ready? How does it smell?
Smells really good.
Oh, it smells really good.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Let's do this. Where are the chunks?
At the bottom.
Oh, okay.
That is
Flavor
really
is
good.
so good.
Oh my God. That is good.
Oh, wow. I didn't get any chunks, but the flavor is amazing. I could drink that all day.
Let's see, pour some more. See if you get chunks. Maybe there's no chunks in here.
The picture shows
It
little
says with tapioca
things, though.
pearls.
Maybe they're settling to the bottom of my cup, and I'll get to them eventually.
I love
That's
this.
delicious.
Like I don't even know how I would describe it. It's
It
like
has like a caramely flavor like brown sugar does.
yeah.
It's almost, it's like a tea that has cream in it.
Yeah,
Like
it's
in
like
the
a
best
tea with
way?
a cream in it, but it tastes to me like brown sugar oatmeal.
It's delicious. We're just sharing germs here like nobody's business.
You probably got some bubbles in there.
We'll find out. They're probably all sitting down here.
Chug it. See if they're down there. Bubbles.
I can see them now.
Yep.
Okay, ready?
And I love that. I love. Like
They're almost like jelly.
Yeah, they are, and I love bubble tea. Like
They don't really have a flavor. They're just a texture.
The Chinese restaurant I go to in town has really good bubble tea. You like?
Interesting.
You're making a face now, like...
No, they don't have a flavor. And the texture doesn't bother me.
Like, it's a big tapioca bubble. That's all it is. But
good.
I have friends that would gag and throw up on this because
No, that
they
doesn't bother
can't...
me.
They can't drink something. Like, I love... My favorite orange juice is, like, extra pulp. Like, I love pulpy orange juice with, like,
Yeah,
chunks
that's where all
in
the
it.
fiber is, man.
Yeah, like, I love chunky stuff.
We had 3 winners today.
Yeah, this is... I'm
giving
giving this
that
a 10 out of
too.
10. Yeah.
That's delicious.
This
I didn't
is-
even know that was a thing. I didn't know it
Oh, yeah.
existed.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. Brown sugar is, like, one of those things that I don't like brown sugar on its own, but I like brown sugar
Well, why would
flavored...
you eat brown sugar by itself, though?
I don't know, but I like brown sugar flavored things.
Brown sugar is what makes chocolate chip cookies so delicious.
Yeah, definitely 10 out of 10. I would give it an 11 out of 10. I love this.
It's delicious. Yum. Very good. Kurt just applauded that taste test, and now he's choking.
I'm choking on a bubble. Yeah, that was a nice way to end our
It
season
was.
is with
Pleasant.
three really
3
good
delicious
taste tests.
taste tests.
So thank you, Emily, and thank you, Cora.
Yes, thank you guys. Or ladies, I should say.
Should we jump into the episode?
Let's do it.
Being the season finale, we decided just to go with another listener stories episode because we had a couple backed up that we needed to do. So
We're
we
apologizing in advance because Pink sent us an audio
Yes.
one in our Dropbox, and we just didn't get to it. So that will, sorry, Pink, that will be included
Next
in next
season.
season for sure. But I know he sent us more than one, and I think we only played one on our last.
I think we only played one as
episode.
well. Yum. Okay. So we're going to read the listener stories, and then we'll probably just...
We have some questions.
We have
to
some
answer.
questions. We have some song picks, and I think those might actually be a little lengthy. So we're going to... It's going to be like an average
Our last
length
episode's always kind of casual, so
Yeah, super casual.
super cash.
So our first listener story comes from Andrew. It says, "Hey guys, love the show. Feel free to read this if you please." We're going to read it.
We please.
We please. I worked in a store near Detroit that was haunted. I was told this by several other employees at the time that I started. However, I was skeptical about it until I had several experiences that I still cannot explain.
We didn't video record any of the taste.
And Krista made sure
even charged
she
the
charged the camera.
Oh my god. We just dove right in and
I
didn't
couldn't figure
even
out what you were
think
pointing at. I was
about
like, did
it.
you see a shadow person over there? I couldn't figure out what you were pointing at over in the corner.
I'd be more excited about the shadow person.
You were so...
my
Because
God.
before we started recording, you're like, we're going to get this
We're
today
gonna get
unless I
this
leave
right.
the lens cap on. And we totally...
Didn't even cross our minds to video. Okay, wow.
Sorry.
Sorry, coffee supporters. We'll get
Yeah.
better.
Sorry, guys. Dang it. I can't believe I even forgot about that.
I know. We both own this one.
So back to
Okay.
Andrew's story.
Sorry, Andrew.
However, I was skeptical about this until I had several experiences that I still cannot explain.
What kind of store was it? Did he say?
I can't remember if he says in here. This store has a large second-floor stock room with 4 aisles where all of this occurred. The first experience that I had consisted of me working on the second floor and looking down one of the aisles of stock shelves and seeing a black figure walk through the shelf. Yikes. That's creepy.
I remember reading this in our email.
The
Yes.
first thing I thought was that it was another employee, which was a rational thought. So I walked down to see if they needed help, and when I got there, nobody was around, and I got a chill throughout my whole body. It was a 90-degree summer day, and there was no air conditioning. And the only way for the thing to have gotten out would have been to walk past me. I thought this was weird, but didn't think too much of it until a few weeks later when I was putting away new products that we had received that day, again by myself upstairs. I was listening to music through a speaker in the second aisle when I hear footsteps in aisle 1 behind me, so I go to see who was there because I was supposed to be the only person up there. Finding nobody and thinking nothing of it, I go back to putting away the stock, and this time I hear what sounds like somebody sprinting down the same aisle behind me. And this time I hear what sounds like somebody sprinting down the aisle behind me, and again look to find nothing there. Now, by this time, I'm starting to get a little freaked out, but I need to get the work done, so I go back to it with my music off, thinking that maybe it's a sound coming from the speaker, but I was very wrong, because this time, not only did I hear the footsteps running down the same aisle as me, but I feel something grab me by the shoulder and pull me back a little bit. After that, I noped the hell out of there and ran downstairs. I would continue to have similar experiences, like seeing the black figures and hearing footsteps for the remainder of my time at that job, but I never again stayed there by myself after I heard the footsteps. Thanks for reading this, and sorry about the length. Regards, Andrew.
Wow. I mean, the footsteps aside,
The
something grabbing
sprinting
you.
footsteps.
Yeah, like something's rushing you.
Yeah.
That's really freaky.
And then being like
That's so
something pulls.
threatening.
Yeah, like something pulls your shoulder. No, what kind of store was this, Andrew? Was this like a department store? Was it like a grocery store? But it had 2 floors.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's just weird and creepy.
How did he sign it?
What do you mean?
At the end.
He said, thanks for reading this and sorry for the length. Regards, Andrew.
Regards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a clue. Is he like from the U.S. or from Europe or?
I don't know. Regards almost sounds like UK.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's creepy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's creepy.
I had, like I've talked about on here in listener stories, when Luke sent that one in, that we've had weird stuff happen in the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been times that I'm the only one in there and I got to go from one side of the store to the other and the lights are already off and it's super creepy.
That would
and
be
every
creepy.
sound is amplified.
Sure. You're hyper aware of everything.
But I don't think it was his speaker. I mean, he shut the music off and then
it sounds like whatever it was just trying more and more to get his attention.
But the sprinting almost freaks me out
That
more
really
than the
freaks
being
me out,
touched
too.
on the shoulder. Like the sound of something running up behind you.
Yeah.
Is like,
Yeah.
that's a big nope for me.
Like, why is it rushing at you?
I don't know.
That's so creepy.
I don't know. So thank you so much for that, Andrew.
Props to him for having like the guts to
stay there. Because
Yeah.
Krista, I don't know.
Nope. I'd be
Looking for another job.
Looking online for another job. I don't think I've ever worked anywhere that had any kind of activity. I mean, not that I can remember.
A place you worked at, you didn't have any?
No, not that I can remember. I think that would be really hard because you have to be there. You know?
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm not going to go there. If you have bills to pay, you kind of have to follow through. Actually, some people have claimed that where I work now, the building is haunted, but I'm there in the day when there's people everywhere, so it's not like I've ever had an experience.
So this story is from listener Tiana, who I talked to quite a bit, and she is awesome. We were just mentioning her.
Yeah.
So she writes, "Hi guys, as I listened to your episode on synchronicities, I realized that I have a really interesting one to share. So to start with, I didn't grow up religious. Religion was actually something I found through friends growing up who would invite me to youth groups and church retreats. Because of that, I've never had the religious education piece of it, like understanding the Bible or any of the stories within it. There must have been a part of me that felt like an outsider because at some point I thought, I need a Bible verse to memorize, one that I'll use when someone asks me what my favorite Bible verse is. I think I was about 14 years old at this point and was sitting at my desk looking at this little pocket calendar I had. It was Precious Moments cover with the Bible verse, He who crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies. I looked at it and thought, that's it. That's my Bible verse. After that, I would flip to that verse every time I found a new Bible and quickly discovered that the verbiage was never exactly the same. I think I almost became obsessed and would look in every single Bible only to discover that none of them matched what I saw on that Precious Moments calendar. Fast forward a couple of years. One day I was looking in our pantry, I still lived at home at the time, and realized that it was a complete mess. Being the OCD person that I am, I began pulling everything out to reorganize it. At the very back of one of the shelves, I pulled out a Precious Moments Bible that was still wrapped in cellophane. My family is not religious, so it struck me as odd, so when I went to find my mom, I asked her why we had it in our pantry, and she said a couple years ago she bought it to put in an Easter basket for me. Yes, my mom was one of those moms, but must have completely forgotten about it. I asked her if I could open it, and she said yes. As had been my mission, I opened it with the intention to flip to my Bible verse. However, when I took the cellophane off, I noticed that there was a little corner of one of the pages sticking out of the bottom of the Bible. I opened to that page, and wouldn't you know it, the one and only ripped page in the entire Bible was ripped on the page of my Bible verse,
Wow.
Psalm 103. The verse on the calendar was the second half of verse 4, which read exactly as it did in the Bible that says, Who crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies. It's obviously not hard to recognize that they match because they were both Precious Moments products, but I have never encountered a Bible with damage straight out of the cellophane. Get out of freaking town. And at that point, it wasn't about the fact that they matched anyways. It was the fact that I was being given a sign. While I am no longer religious in the way I was, I have kept this Bible as a reminder of how powerful serendipity can be. I've attached a couple pictures of the Bible as I've kept the page in its original state just to show how crazy it really was. So that's my completely bonkers story and synchronicities. Thank you for reading.
I love that.
That's so cool. Like, I
Yeah.
love Bible, like, synchronicities. I just think that's cool. I think that's like a sign of some kind of higher power. I really do. And I don't know. I love this story. I remember when she sent this the first time, I thought that was so cool.
It's so specific.
Yeah. Yeah. And to find like the Precious Moments Bible.
Right.
And then have the Precious Moments calendar.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
With a tear on that page.
Yeah, on that exact page. So that's
not
like,
even opened
that's
yet?
like somebody
That's crazy.
like telling you.
The universe
Yeah.
sent her a message
Yeah.
that day.
I think that's so cool.
That's very cool.
So thank you so much, Tiana. I love that story. This next one is from listener Jennifer. She writes, Kurt and Krista, this is a story to keep for when you do your next listener stories. That's right now, today.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
That's
now?
what we're doing.
Okay. I'm ready.
I am the oldest of 3 children. Do you want to read this? This one's like long. Do you not want to
doesn't matter to me.
read it on my...
I don't care. I can read it.
Okay, we're going to give this one to Krista.
I have my glasses. I'm
so
ready.
people don't get tired of listening to my voice. So, yes, this is from listener Jennifer.
Okay.
It starts right with, I am the oldest of 3 children.
Holy moly, it is a long one. Okay. I am the oldest of 3 children. I was just shy of 4 years old when my father died of complications from surgery to remove a brain tumor. Wow. He was 30 years old and left my mother, who was also 30, with 3 very young kids to raise on her own. Obviously, due to my age at the time, I have very few memories of my father, and the ones I do are mostly of him being sick. We were a very Catholic family, and that did color my mother's opinion on the topic, or of life after death. From a young age, I was always interested in the unknown and paranormal and cryptids. My mother would usually roll her eyes at me and remind me that it is fun to think about, but it was not real. I learned to keep it pretty quiet when I was around her. Fast forward to my encounter. We lived in a 1950s ranch-style home. Each bedroom had a full-size closet along one wall of the room with double sliding closet doors. My sister and I shared a room growing up. Her bed was along the wall closest to the door, and my bed was along the outside wall next to the window. The closet was along the wall at our feet. In order to leave my room, I would need to walk diagonally across the room to the door. This encounter would have taken place when I was a junior in high school. I started to sense an uneasy feeling coming from my closet right at my feet in the back corner towards the outside wall. Really told myself I was reading too many ghost stories and freaking myself out. Over the next few weeks, the feeling got stronger, and once I was in bed for the night, I really didn't want to get up again and walk across the room. It became so strong and dark a feeling, and I began to be able to see in my mind, and she has quotations around the word see, the image of what I thought was lurking in the closet. It seemed to be a young man in a green army-type jacket with dirty, straggly dark hair and a dark look to his face, though it was not a clear image. The stronger the feeling of unease got, the stronger the image in my mind became. One night, the image was so vivid that I could see more detail and saw a hunting knife in his hands. Yikes. Oh boy. This, of course, scared me to death.
Rightly so.
Yeah. I couldn't understand why he would be in my closet, as he had never been there before. To this day, I still have no idea what caused him to appear, but I do know why he left. About this time, when my fear was so great that I couldn't leave my bed after the lights went out, I started to feel a second presence in the room. This was a lighter, gentler feeling, and it would hover above the closet doors in the corner of the room so that it was between me and the closet doors. So it's kind of like blocking.
Yeah, like blocking the thing from getting to
from
her,
the closet.
it sounds like.
The feeling of it got stronger as the feeling of the darker presence in the closet got stronger.
That's weird that there's like...
It is. This particular night, I had to use the bathroom. I never liked to get out of bed once I was in, but there was no help for it this night. I feel you, sister. We always slept with the doors shut as the dark hallway outside was too foreboding. So I got out of bed and ran to the door and swung it open. The bathroom was just across the hall. Once it was time to go back to my room, I got very nervous. I walked slowly into the room and shut the door behind me. As soon as I did this, I was pinned to the door. There was a heavy pressure on my chest and I could not move. Now, this has been a while. Oh, sorry. Now, if this had been a while I was in bed, I know, sleep paralysis. That's, of course, what I would have said. Mm-hmm. But I was not in my bed. There was an actual physical pressure pushing my back against the door. I could feel it on my chest. Up to this point, I had not got a clear sense of the lighter presence until this very moment. In that moment, when I was against the door, I knew who it was. I spoke in a soft voice and simply said, "Daddy, please help." As soon as those words were uttered, the pressure left my chest and I ran to the bed and under the covers. From that night on, for about the next week or so, the presence in the closet got weaker until one night I didn't feel it anymore. My father's energy was still there and stayed there for a little longer until it just faded away too. I know in my heart that my father is my guardian angel and he was there to protect me from whatever had wandered into my room. Wow.
That's really good.
Yeah. Shortly after this, he came to me again when I needed protection. I was out late one evening babysitting and was driving back after midnight. I took a different route home. Why, I can't remember, but I got very uncomfortable on this back road that I didn't know very well and decided to ask my dad for help again and to look over me. I instantly felt a chill go through my body and I knew there was someone behind me in the back seat. I was scared at first, but then a calmness came over me. Once I got to a more familiar stretch of road, the presence vanished from the car. He knew I was fine again. I tried to tell my mother about it, and this is when I learned why she felt the way she did about ghosts. Not only was she Catholic and didn't believe in things like that, but she said that if it was real, he would have come to her after he died, and he never did. I never brought up things like this again to her until recently because she did have her own experience and she is more open to it now. I don't know why he never came to her other than maybe she just didn't realize in her grief that he had come. I've never ever thought of myself as a sensitive before and still not sure that I am, but I've recently joined an investigation team. Ooh, exciting.
That is exciting.
And because of that, people in my life are asking me why. So I've recently been repeating this encounter as it is what has kept me interested in the paranormal. During one retelling to my uncle, he was asking me about how I could see the entity in the closet. I had never thought about it before. It just was. Looking back, it explains other times when I have felt disturbed at times on a few investigations. I certainly don't know, but I'm looking forward to being extra observant and focused in my future investigations. Keep up the great work you're both doing. I hate that I am all caught up on episodes and now have to wait for the next download.
Sorry.
I hope you know just how special it is to have this community where we can hang out with our friends. Stay strange, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. That's a really
That's
good
a great story.
I remember reading this, and then it's just like, what if we're going through our day-to-day boring lives, and what if there are things that are trying to do bad things to us, and then the people that have moved on are protecting us from that. That this
We
whole,
just have no idea.
No, that this whole like little weird battle might be going on that we don't even aren't aware of. Mm-hmm. But you know, it's like
maybe that's what synchronicities are too.
Yeah, that's what synchronicities could be. Them trying to get you a message.
Yeah.
I totally believe in that. I really do. But it always makes me wonder, like, why hasn't my dad appeared to me more, or my grandma? Mm-hmm. Why have I got nothing? Or my mom?
I've
got nothing from.
I shouldn't say that. I did have a dream about my dad's brother after he passed away a long time ago, and it was very strange because he did say something like, he passed away from congestive heart failure. Mm-hmm. And like shortly after that, we were up because we used to sing in the church choir, and he was sitting next to me, and I looked over and I'm like, "Uncle Dick, what are you doing here? You passed away." And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, "But I'm right here." And that was like a dream that I had. That's the only time I've ever had an encounter with someone who's passed in a dream or in any way. But that was like a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, there was one day that I swear I walked out shortly after my dad passed away, where I walked out to get into the car and I saw him behind the wheel because that used to be his car. But it was just there for a moment and then it was gone.
That's interesting.
But it's like, you know, my dad
almost
knew,
like residual.
Yeah, like my dad knew I was into the ghost stuff. So you would think that he would try to give me signs, but maybe that's what the synchronicities I constantly see are signs from my mom or dad or grandma or friends that have passed away or whatever. But I just really liked her story because it made me think that maybe there is this constant battle going on around us that we don't know
light
about.
Over dark.
Where demonic things are trying to influence you while the people you love that have passed on are trying to fight that. So I don't know. I just really, really like that story.
It's an interesting idea.
So thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you.
This story is small, but I like this one. Hey there, I'm Ryan from the UK. Hi, Ryan from the UK. Shout out to our UK listeners. Thought I'd share a strange phenomenon that happened to my mom and Nana back in the early 90s. One day in 1993, my mom and Nana were out shopping in Warrington. As they were walking, they stopped to look at some earrings in a shop window. Suddenly, they hear a huge explosion right around the corner. Turns out a bomb had been planted in a litter bin by the IRA. This bomb injured many people and killed 2 young boys.
Wow.
If they hadn't stopped to look at some earrings, they would have been directly in path of the bomb. In hindsight, they say they don't know what possessed them to even stop to look at the earrings, as they were totally not the style that they liked. Months later, my aunt visited my Nana from Nottingham wearing those same exact earrings. That's just so cool.
That's so crazy.
P.S. I discovered your podcast through researching Captain Coochie's Key Lime Pie mystery, which is one of my favorite mysteries because of how bizarre it is. I wonder if we will ever get a further explanation.
Wow.
But no, I love that. I like stories like that where
Just out of chance.
somebody is prevented from.
Yeah.
From
and is that chance?
even
I don't think that is chance.
Yeah, but it's like, why did they stop to even look at it when that's not the kind of earrings they're interested in?
If they were just doing something they did every day,
yeah,
that would be one thing.
Yeah.
But to do something completely out of the ordinary and avoid being possibly killed
yeah,
is incredible to me. Wow.
But then it plays into, why was it the time for those 2 young boys to be killed and not his mom and grandmother?
Yeah, those are the answers we'll never have.
Those are answers
right?
we'll never know. But I totally think that was not their time, and that's why they stopped to look at those earrings. I just think that's such a cool little story. Like, I
do too.
love that.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yes, thank you so much. This is from listener Mike. Hi, Kurt and Krista. My name is Mike, and I am from Maryland. I love the podcast.
Mike from Maryland.
Mike from Maryland. I love the podcast. I found it searching for missing 411 podcasts, and your podcast is by far my favorite. I look forward to every episode.
Thank you.
This is my story. I had sent it in for the last submission, but even if it doesn't get read on the podcast, I'd still like for you to read it. We're reading it on the podcast for you, Mike. I'm also attaching some pictures from the I always see this word and I feel like I can't pronounce it. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum?
Yeah, Trans-Allegheny.
Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia. One picture has something in it that I haven't been able to explain. I was going to save the pictures and I didn't, but I'll post them in the group.
Is it in the email?
Yes.
Because I kind of want to. I can look. Is it Mike D? I don't want to say his last
was a
name.
Beastie Boy.
I know. Was. Oh, he still is.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though they're
I'll
not...
check the email.
Chuck?
I'll check the email. Good Lord. Would help if I look at the strain sessions. Oh, I see. I'm getting to the attachment. Ooh.
Like, that's the picture that he thinks there's something weird there. And then here's like kind of, I don't want to say edited, but like enhanced, which is a weird picture because, I don't know. I mean, I see like
a
shadow of somebody like standing sideways, like a profile.
Kind of, yeah.
Anyway, he says, I'm also attaching some pictures from the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum from Weston, West Virginia. It's so hard to say. In Weston, West Virginia. One picture has something in it that I haven't been able to explain. My aunt's house was supposedly haunted by both a little girl and a, quote, lady. During the day, nothing would happen, but if you sat quietly, you would occasionally hear whispers. I'm already noping out on that. Mm-hmm. Now, once it got dark is when stuff would happen. My aunt's boyfriend would see the lady looking around the doorway at him, or he would see...
when stuff's like peeking around corners.
Yeah, like the thing was in my bedroom. Like the green guy I saw in my bedroom when I was a kid, peering around the corner. And that's what they see the Hat Man do. They say the Hat Man is seen peeking around the corner at you.
I don't like it.
Krista's immediately noped out at that. My aunt's boyfriend would see the lady looking around the doorway at him, or he would see a woman walk by thinking it was my aunt. He would call out to her, and she would be on the other side of the house. My aunt said once that she felt someone crawl up into bed with her. Ugh. Thinking it was her daughter, she rolled over to put her arm around her, and no one was there.
Oh, boy.
I know this is going to sound cliche, but she has a son, and when he was an infant, they had a baby monitor in his room, and she would hear humming coming from it, and when she would go into the room, there would be no one in there. The kids would also talk about the lady. They would have conversations with someone that wasn't there, and when asked who they were talking to, they would say, the lady. Then, when my aunt moved, another family moved in. When this happened, the other family had a daughter that was younger than my aunt's daughter. Winter came along, and the thermostat was in the attic. The father went up to put the heat on, and something said to him, get the F out.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself, it doesn't sound threatening.
Except for
this
get
part.
the F out. The
Wow.
little girl went to school asking for my aunt's daughter by name for her to come to a birthday party. My aunt's daughter never met this family or the girl that moved in, but she somehow knew her name and said, the people in the house want you to come back.
Oh, no.
I
No.
stayed at this house for...
I'm busy that day.
Yeah, I have a prior
I have a
engagement.
thing.
I stayed at this house for a couple weeks. Nothing bizarre happened to me other than hearing the faint whispers during the day in the kitchen, but you could always feel like someone was watching you.
I don't know how anyone can live like that. I'm just, I couldn't.
I did in my
Whispers,
apartment. I did in my apartment with the weird stuff.
people peering around corners.
Yep. I stayed at this house for a couple weeks. Nothing bizarre happened to me other than hearing the faint whispers during the day in the kitchen, but you could feel as if someone was watching you. And this was well before I was told the stories about the little girl and the lady while staying at the house.
I feel like the whispers are the creepiest part to me.
Yeah. I'm glad my aunt moved from this house. The picture before editing, you can slightly see a shadow at the bottom of the staircase.
Okay, now he's talking about Trans-Allegheny.
Yes.
Okay.
I do not believe this is my shadow, as there's no light source coming from behind me, and the shadow is not complete. The second one is the photo after increasing the exposure and contrast. To me, it almost looks like a shadow figure or something trying to manifest. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. And I'll post them in the group, but I think it looks weird to me. It looks...
It does, and if...
I mean, I could understand it being just matrixing.
But what's causing, if there was no light behind him, what's causing a shadow?
Yeah,
if it's an
I don't
actual
know.
shadow.
I don't know. But in the second picture, it looks like the profile, like a shadow of someone standing sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think those are really interesting pictures.
I think so too.
I'll post them in the group after releasing this episode. But he'd love to hear people's opinion on it. So I don't know. I think they're creepy. There's something about it that just looks off.
I need to take a closer look, but...
And then he writes, I hope you do a strange state episode on Maryland. We have lots of strange things in our state, especially our fascination with seafood and our state flag. I don't know what your state flag is.
Me neither.
I hope one day to send you guys some taste test stuff from Maryland. Unfortunately, I don't think seafood would be the best thing to ship to you, even though it's what Maryland
Probably
is
not.
known for. Probably not. I'm sorry this is a long email, but I really appreciate you guys and wish you nothing but good health and happiness. Thanks,
I mean, you'd have to
Mike.
overnight it in like a cooler.
Yeah, like
I mean,
an ice chest
we
or
do that
something.
Blue Apron and we get like salmon and stuff, but funny. Yeah,
So thank
you.
you
Great
so
story.
much, Mike. That is
really
awesome.
creepy stuff.
Yeah.
The whispering bothers me more than anything else, and I don't really know why.
Yeah.
It's almost like something's there, but doesn't want you to hear what they're saying. I don't know. That's creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy.
Whispering is creepy.
That had a lot of nopes for Krista. It had the whispering, the peering
nopes.
around the doorway.
So many
There's
notes.
one of the later ones coming up from Reddit. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm hoping it's fake. But
Because it's that creepy.
What was in there is a big nope for me.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll get to that.
You never know
towards
with
the end.
Reddit, right?
Yeah, it's probably fake. It's probably fake. I hope to God it's fake because I don't ever want to see that.
Well, I can't wait now.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, Mike. And this next one, these are some stories from Nathan.
Nathan Ward.
I think, yeah, because he sent us, I think he's the one that sent us some stuff that we read in the last one, but he sent so many that we saved half of them. So now we have a bunch more from him. So these are from Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan.
This one is called The Drummer. Some friends of mine were in a local band and they were looking for somewhere to store the equipment. So I took care of the drum kit and had it set up in the dining room. As I say, I'm sure our neighbors loved us. One morning, I remember Steve. The friend's name is Steve, S-T-E.
Oh.
I think it's short for Steve.
Maybe.
One morning, Steve asked us if we heard any noises last night. Neither of us had, so he went on to describe the following. He heard crashing sounds around in the dining room and in particular heard the drums being clattered about. He initially thought that one of us had come home drunk and was stumbling around the room.
I'm picturing it.
So good. I'm walking into the drum kit. Yeah. He initially thought that one of us had come home drunk and was stumbling around the room. He left his room, which was directly next door to mine, and looked down the stairs. All the lights were off, but he could still hear the noises. He then thought perhaps it was a break-in. He tried to wake me and Paul, but didn't want to make too much noise to attract the attention of the would-be intruders, so he didn't manage to awaken us. So instead, he crept down the stairs while the din was going on. He said he got around halfway when the noise completely stopped. It was suddenly dead silent, and he
creepy.
was stuck on the stairs. He eventually plucked up the courage to go down and investigate. He turned the lights on in the dining room, and no one was there, and additionally, nothing was out of place. He was confused, but started making his way back up the stairs. Again, halfway up, the racket started again in the dining room.
No.
He ran the rest of the way up the stairs and back to his
Nope.
room.
Nope.
When he told us a story, he asked how neither of us could have heard anything because it was so loud and there was so much crashing around.
So I would rather it be a ghost than a person.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
could you imagine turning on the light and there's a burglar standing there?
No.
Like,
No.
no, that would be horrifying.
Yeah.
I'd never recover from that. But I mean, the ghost part's not so great either.
No.
That's really creepy. It's like it knew he was coming
Yeah.
and it was like,
then
oh, shh,
purposely.
quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going back
Yeah.
upstairs.
And now we can start drumming again. Creepy.
That's really creepy.
Next one, the girl in the white dress.
Why are they always wearing white dresses? I
don't
just
know.
want to know.
We were prepping for a party. In the house, there were 3 of us and our friend Kat.
Same house, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I'm not sure. My brother arrived a little later and pretty early on asked us to use the bathroom. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Later on, he asked me about a girl he'd seen wearing a white dress. There was no one wearing one, so I asked more. He said it was before others arrived, so it was just the 3 of us. It was just the 3 of us, him and Kat. So I said, it must have been Kat. He said it wasn't, as she was in the living room when he went to go to the bathroom and she wasn't wearing a white dress. So I asked him to describe what happened. He said, I got partway up the stairs and noticed the bathroom light was on, so I thought someone was in there, and then I came back down. As I was getting down to the bottom, I saw the bathroom door open, and because of the angle, saw the bottom half of someone wearing a white dress or skirt leaving the bathroom and heading towards yours or Steve's room, and thought they might have been going to get changed. Entirely possible it was Kat, and he was remembering it wrong. She may have been going to change in Steve's room, but she definitely wouldn't have worn a white dress or skirt. I've never seen her wear one before or since.
Weird.
Creepy. It's always creepy when there's like a partial, seeing somebody and then...
But real, like...
Yeah, and then realizing there's just... you don't know who it would
And
be.
also solid enough that you think there's a person there, you know? Don't worry, your mic is on.
Okay.
I'm glad you're checking an hour into our show, though.
Okay. I'm on the ball.
Hey, we didn't record the taste test,
Yeah.
so...
But the white dress thing is weird that, like you said, so many are seen in white dresses.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think that was probably just really common back in, like, the day, like the 1800s or
Yeah.
whatever. They probably didn't have a lot of, I don't know how...
No.
Common
like
dyed
people say, then why
fabrics
don't you
were-
see like ghosts from the 80s with parachute pants and mullets, doing the MC Hammer dance around the living room? Why don't you ever
Nope.
see that?
It's always a chick in a long white gown. or
Long way
dress.
down. Next one, lights out. We feel like this one is more of a massive coincidence than anything paranormal, unless we have unleashed something really powerful into the world, but it's a fun story nonetheless. Paul had gone out for the evening, and me and Steve, being the very sophisticated 20-somethings that we were having a wine evening and possibly watching the Charmed box set.
Oh, wow.
I've never
okay.
watched Charmed. I've never seen Charmed.
I watched the original one a lot back in the day.
Yeah. I had a crush on one of the girls on there.
Of course you did.
I did.
Alyssa Milano?
No.
Oh, wow. You said that with conviction.
No. And now Rose McGowan, the other one.
There's Piper, the one who played Piper?
Yes.
She's really pretty.
Yeah, she is super pretty. Not that I hate Alyssa Milano, but I
How
mean,
could you?
I
She's
didn't mean to give you
gorgeous.
such a nope, but it wasn't Alyssa Milano.
Like, how dare you reject Alyssa? Sorry.
Okay,
we
going back,
digress.
Charm box set. Also being very sophisticated. The house we were renting had a dimmer light in the living room. Anyway, we were having a drink, and I noticed the lights go dim. I looked at the dimmer switch, then at Steve, and asked, did the lights just go dim, or did I imagine it? Steve said he didn't see anything. About 5 minutes later, it happened again, and I said, you saw it that time, right? And he said, yeah, definitely. I wonder what it was. And we joked about it being the ghost. Then Steve looked at the light and said, if there's anybody here, give us a sign. And instantaneously, every light in the house went out. Within a second of him finishing the sentence.
That's not a
We
coincidence.
stared at each other in the dark and both said the S word.
Ugh.
That was it. In the next minute or so, ghosts were 100% real in our minds, and we'd seen the proof. After maybe another minute, I could hear a noise coming from the back room where the drum kit was and went to investigate. It was coming from the back door, and when I listened, I realized it was our house alarm. We investigated further, and all the lights in the street were out.
Oh.
Then we started getting messages from friends, and their lights were out too. Turns out it was the biggest blackout in our area in decades, and an absolutely amazing coincidence, I hope.
Weird.
But it's weird that it happened right when they said that.
That's weird. What are the odds that they would say? Well, maybe the light flickering though was like,
the start of it.
Yeah, and that's because they had experiences. That's why they asked the question. So I guess it does make some sense, but
it's still kind of a weird coincidence.
It's interesting. Fun story.
And the last one is called intruder. That's never a good. That's not
like
a good word. That's like a horrible word.
Yeah, it is.
Paul, Steve, and Steve's girlfriend at the time were going out for a night. Paul, Steve, and Steve's girlfriend at the time were going for a night out, and it was another night where I decided to stay in. They left, and I locked up. A relevant side note, I'm very security conscious, so before bed, I made sure all the doors were locked and the windows were closed. Krista just pointed at herself.
I just ordered a security system, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
As this was the first time we were living away from home, I was super careful about all of this. I go to close the door to my room and go to bed. The doors in the house were pretty heavy, and once closed, they wouldn't open unless the handle was turned. You could put all of your body weight on them, and unless you turn the handle, they wouldn't open.
Well, that's how doors are supposed to work, though. Like, none of the doors in my house would open unless you turned a knob.
Well, I'm thinking maybe he's like meaning like some are like old house where they're not, where they don't have like the knob thing where you can still push them open.
Okay.
Anyway, I was fast asleep. I'm unsure what time it was. Maybe 1 a.m. I wake to the sound of my door opening. It opened forcefully to the point where I thought there was an intruder and that we were being burgled.
I love that word.
I know.
Burgled. Makes it sound fun.
Yeah.
It's not, but the word makes it sound fun.
Like, it's not fun if your house gets robbed, but if you get burgled.
No, if you get burgled, there's something old-timey about it.
Immediately wide awake, I rolled off the bed and grabbed a dumbbell bar and waited for someone to come in. No one did. I was on really high alert now because I definitely didn't hear anyone run down the stairs, so they must have gone into one of the other rooms.
So his door was open though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I systematically eliminated the rooms while keeping an eye on the staircase to see if anyone bolted. First, I went into Steve's room to my right. He only had a box room, so it was easily checked. I flicked the light on and looked under his bed, and in his cupboard, nothing. He's from the UK, so cupboard is closet.
A closet.
Yep. I then passed Paul's room and checked the bathroom again. Nothing. My heart was pounding now as I was thinking, well, whoever it is has to be in Paul's room and they're cornered, so they're likely to try to fight me to get out. I went in and turned on the light, checked under the bed, nothing. The only possible place now was the relatively large cupboard at the back of the room that contained the boiler. I got to the door, took a breath, wrenched it open. Nothing. So now I'm really confused. Could they have gotten downstairs and I somehow missed it? I raced down the stairs, checked the front door, which was still locked, checked the living room, empty. Half scanned the dining room while I was in the living room and went to the kitchen. I felt there was more of a chance of them slipping by if they were still in the kitchen. Again, it was empty. I checked the dining room, empty. The back door was still bolted. About an hour later, the others arrived home to find every light on in the house and me sitting in the living room in my underpants still clutching the dumbbell bar. They asked what had happened, and I just said, I'm not going back upstairs on my own. We all checked everything again, and the windows were closed and the doors were locked. This one confuses me the most. The doors never blow open when fully closed, and that aside, all the windows were closed, so there would not have been a draft to blow it open. So I realize that's a lot of stories. I hope you enjoy them. Feel free to use them in part or full on any listener episodes, but the main thing is I hope you found them interesting.
Yes.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you so much, Nathan. These
that
are
last
awesome.
one would have really scared me too.
Oh, God, yeah. Because you
thinking
assume
there's an intruder in the house and you can't find anything. No explanation for how the door flew open.
No, and you assume that it's a burglar.
Right.
That you're being burgled.
Again, it sounds like so much fun.
This next one is from listener Andy. He says, Hey, Kurt and Krista. Not sure if these are what you're looking for, as they are very short occurrences. However, my partner has always had a wee thing or a heightened sense about her. A wee thing.
I feel like we have a lot of listeners across the pond.
Yeah,
I love it.
I do. I love the way.
I'm just assuming this person is.
When we moved in together, and whilst is totally a UK thing, which I love. Whilst she was pregnant with our child, we were sat on the sofa one evening watching a film, sitting close together but not smothering each other, and I suddenly saw her head go backwards a touch, and she turned to me and looked me up and down. I asked what's wrong, and she said, Did you just pull my ponytail?
Whoa.
Krista was like, No. I was like, no, both my arms were right in front of me. I couldn't have moved that quickly. She looked confused and was like, someone or something just pulled my ponytail backwards.
Nope.
That's always such a freaky thing.
Yeah.
It's like when something
it's like trying to get your
hair.
attention. Yeah. It's sort of playful too, though.
Yeah. I know that I saw her head move slightly backwards, so I totally believe her. She explained that this was one of the things her dad used to do to her constantly when he was alive, playing little jokes to tease her. He unfortunately passed away of cancer in his 50s before I got a chance to meet him.
That's
That went from
interesting.
like creepy to actually
Yeah,
a little
it's kind of sweet.
kind of sweet. After our son Arlo Phoenix was born, he was about 4 months old and lay in his bouncy chair next to the table while we ate our tea one evening. He suddenly started to make sort of happy sounds, and we both looked at him and watched, as he was still very young and making new sounds all the time. I watched as he stared at something which we could not see, visibly concentrating and smiling and making wee happy noises. His head then started to turn backwards and forwards as if he was watching the something move from side to side above him.
Weird.
He eventually, after about 15 minutes, went back to looking around normally and not concentrating. I don't know how to explain it, but we could just tell the thing was not there anymore, and his wee noises stopped.
I wonder if Grandpa was visiting his grandchild.
That's my guess. Arlo is now about 9 months old. One day not long ago, it was around lunchtime and I was sleeping after working a night shift. My partner had put Arlo in his pram. Pram is
a baby carriage.
Baby carriage. And he was watching Moana in the living room while she took 10 minutes to sit in peace and have a coffee in the dining room just next door. She explained that she heard footsteps walking around the wooden flooring in the living room from the rear towards the front where Arlo was. She just thought it was me who had woken up, and she didn't think much of it. She then said she heard whispers. She couldn't tell what was being whispered, but it was definite whispers. And again, she thought this was me whispering or speaking to Arlo. She then heard the same sounds of footsteps over the wooden floor and looked up at the dining room door expecting to see me come through to her. When I didn't appear and the noises stopped, she came up to the bedroom and found me still sleeping in bed.
Oh, boy.
Strange.
That gave me the chills a little bit.
I have to say that we or she never felt threatened or frightened in any way during these experiences, and we fully believe that it was Arlo's granddad just coming to see and say hello to him, as he never got the chance to meet him in real life.
That's sweet. That's what I think. I mean, that's what it feels like.
And he says, that's all for now, but stay tuned, smiley face. Loving the podcast, and I'm catching up on all the episodes which I have missed. Listened to the Bet Sphere this week, and that blew me away. Have you ever got the chance to find out where it is yet, or have there been any more updates? I must listen to the Astonishing Legends episodes about it. No, I have not heard any updates, and there's that podcast that was called Oddball, and that was like the podcast about it, and it ended with her getting in touch with, I can't remember her name right off the top of my head, but the main lady that was like, had the ball, and they were going to get an interview with her, but that was 2 years ago, and it's never, and I think COVID screwed that whole thing up, so that kind of sucks. But no, I have not heard any updates, and it is still, if I had one paranormal thing that I could hold,
get the answer to,
it's that ball.
Yeah.
I want to hold the actual Bet Sphere in my hand, even though we don't even know if it's still around. I also love the one after that, which was a mini mysteries episode and featured a tale from Scotland about the dog Death Bridge. As I live in Scotland, he's from Scotland.
That was one of my mini mysteries.
As I live in Scotland, we'll have to visit it one day and post pictures on the Strangers page.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Take care, folks, and I look forward to the next episode. Even if these wee stories are not quite right for it, I won't take offense. They are perfect stories. Thank you so much, Andy. Take care of each other and yourselves. That's so sweet. Thank you so much, Andy. And our last listener story was sent to us by Carl. I've been chatting with Carl a lot. He seemed very concerned about me when I was talking about being like stressed and overwhelmed and all that stuff. So he's been super sweet. So thank you so much, Carl. It says, Krista and Kurt, hello. First off, thank you so much for all the hard work you two do, the research, the time to record and edit, and using your own home to record the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. I have 2 stories for you. Let me preface this first story by saying this was a time when I was involved in a local quote-unquote church that has absolutely been given the tag of being a cult on more than one occasion, not wearing the same Nikes and jumpsuits or drink this Kool-Aid kind, but more one looking to exploit people searching for friends and direction in their lives and relieve them of their money. Yeah.
So he was part of this?
Yes.
Okay.
We went to this location I mentioned later to go pray. Okay, this happened to me in December of 1993 or 1994 in southern Arizona. I love Arizona.
I've never been there.
I was with a friend. We can call him Dave. We were out one evening, maybe 10:30 or 11 p.m. We had decided to go over to a local community college. There is this one particular spot on campus with 3 large half-circle concrete steps, and if you stand in one particular spot and speak, the acoustics make it sound only to the person standing in this one particular spot as if they are using a microphone. It's kind of a neat thing. So while we were chatting after I had finished praying and before he started, we heard a scream in the desert north of us. Now I say scream, but honestly I'm not sure what it was. Part of me wants to explain this away as it being a mountain lion or something. It could have been a woman though. At that time, there were a few miles of desert between the college and the next area of houses, so it seemed a bit odd for there to be someone in the desert that late at night. We both fell silent, staring in that direction. Neither one of us spoke or looked at each other after what seemed like an eternity, but was actually only a minute or so. Dave, without turning to me at all, said, "Do you feel that?" I simply replied, "Yes." "I think we need to go," he said very quietly, and I agreed. Neither of us said another word on the walk back to my truck. We climbed into the cab and sat in silence as we drove away into the night. After probably 10 minutes, I asked him, "What did you feel?" Neither of us had yet even looked at the other. "Cold," he replied. "The coldest I had ever felt, and a feeling that we were not supposed to be there. A feeling that if we didn't leave, something very bad was going to happen." "Yeah," I croaked. "Me too." I grew up in Alaska, and I had never experienced a cold like I did that night. It was cold all the way through to my very soul. And the cold set in instantly. As soon as we heard the scream, we were cold. I have no idea what was there, but I knew that we had to get out of there as soon as possible. I have never been back to that spot. That's so creepy. That is.
It is weird, and I think it is mountain lions that make like the craziest noises. They sound like a woman screaming.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain
like the
cold.
feeling that they both had. Like they both instantly got. That's
weird.
just weird. That's like, I feel like something was
it makes
there.
you think that wasn't a big cat. It probably, it could have been something else.
Yeah, I feel that creeps me out. I feel like something was there.
And it was a shared
but
experience.
It reminds me of that. I don't remember. I think I talked about this on here, and I always remember this night. And it was so weird when I was living at my old house, the house where I saw the green guy. And I must have been in my early teens, 11, 12, where it was like 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, back when I could stay up that late. It was like 7 or 8 at night.
Whoa.
And I just took the basketball and I went out in the driveway and I had the garage light on, and I was just shooting buckets in the buckets. I don't know why I said that with such like a drawl.
Shooting buckets.
So I was out shooting buckets in the driveway, and nothing. It was just like a nice, I want to say summer, late summer, early autumn night. And I'm there shooting buckets, and like everything all of a sudden, I don't know how to explain it. It was like
I remember you ever talking.
It was
about
like
this.
something changed and a wind picked up like that had not been there, and it just didn't feel right. I don't know if I felt like something was watching me, but all of a sudden it was like something on a dime changed. Like the wind picked up and it was just weird, and I put the ball away and went back in the house. And to this day I remember that. I remember that feeling like everything just instantly changed, like something happened. And that's kind of what this reminds me of, where all of a sudden you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
So
that's creepy.
So I don't know. That's just a really good story.
There's something very primal about that.
Yes. Yeah. So then Carl goes on to write, my second story also takes place in southern Arizona, but it happened in the fall of 2006 or 2007. At that time, I was working in an open pit copper mine. Ugh, I don't ever want to work in a mine. Mines creep me out.
And they're incredibly dangerous.
I was working the overnight shift this particular night. I was assigned to the crusher, which is basically a large building where copper-rich ore is brought in via conveyor belts and very large dump trucks known as haul trucks from the pit to be broken down into smaller pieces prior to the extraction process. This one particular building is probably about 5 or 6 stories high, and I was on the top floor doing some cleanup. It's a very dusty environment, and respirators have to be worn in the building. I stepped outside onto a walkway to remove my respirator and to get a breath of fresh air. I was facing the pit and just enjoying the cooler temps that night brings to the desert. I was looking south and standing on a walkway 5 or 6 stories above the ground. Directly in front of me, about 10 degrees above my line of sight, a light came on. The best way I can describe it is like a spotlight. Instantly it came on, very bright for about 3 seconds, and then slowly dimmed out. As soon as it went out, a second light appeared also in front of me, but to my left, instantly on for 3 seconds, then it faded out. As soon as the second light went out, a third light to the right of the initial light came on. Again, instantly on, and then it faded out after 3 seconds or so. I stood on the walkway searching the sky for any other lights, for any planes, helicopters, anything for probably half an hour. There were no other lights, nothing. Also, there was no sound when the lights appeared. by definition, I guess this was a UFO. So that's weird. And I hear that happening where lights go on and then dim and then go on and then dim, like in a craft shape, almost like some kind of UFO. But like Arizona, I think, is rife with UFO sightings because it's a desert and there's lots of bases there and stuff. So I could totally see this being a military craft that they were testing or possibly a UFO.
UFO, right.
I remember I asked my dad once, I said if he ever saw UFOs, and he said he's seen a lot of things in the desert sky that he can't explain. So,
those are UFOs.
Yeah. And then Carl says, I hope you can use one or both of these. Again, thank you so much for everything you guys do. Stay strange, Carl.
Good stuff.
So thank you so much, Carl. And thank you. That's our listener stories we got this time. So thank you guys. We got a little bit of everything, some UFOs.
We did.
So thank you so much, guys, for sending in the stories. We're going to have another listeners episode.
We do every season.
Yeah, we're going to have another listener story episode next season. Probably one, maybe two, depending on if we get a lot. So, and with new listeners coming in all the time, it's always nice that we can get new stories. So thank you guys so much for sending those. We appreciate it more than you know.
Yeah.
Because
you literally made this episode.
Yeah, and I didn't know how many we were going to get, so I'm going to read 3 stories that I took off of Reddit that kind of gave me the creeps a little bit. So the first one is short, but this freaks me out, and I don't know.
Is this the one that you were talking about earlier?
No, I'm saving the one that freaks me out the most for last.
Oh,
but this one really bothers me, and I don't know what it is. But anyway, this is from a Reddit user. It says, I live in a condominium, and we own 2 apartments on the 7th and 8th floor. The only way to move in between them is to step outside of the apartment, take the elevator or the staircase, and enter the other one. One night, we ran out of ice cream upstairs, and my mom asked me to go get some from the downstairs freezer. So I took the keys to the 7th floor's apartment, and since it was dinner time, no one was there. I walked into the pitch dark and realized that someone was sitting on the sofa, so I flipped on the light switch just to see my... Krista's shaking her head already.
Nope.
I walked into the pitch dark and realized that someone was sitting on the sofa. So I flipped the switch on to see my dad just sitting there. It was kind of weird, but I just went to get the ice cream and asked him if he had a key to lock up. There was no answer. I shrugged and thought, well, if he came and locked the door behind him, he must have one. Went back upstairs, and there my dad was sitting eating dinner.
No.
I freaked out and asked him how the heck did he get up there so fast, and everyone told me that he was there the whole time. I told them it was not possible because I just saw him downstairs, but no one believed me. Now I never go down there alone.
That is the creepiest thing I ever heard in a long time.
I know. And he was just sitting there. He wasn't even doing anything.
You wouldn't answer him?
No, he wouldn't answer him. He just sat there.
And the idea of someone just sitting in the pitch dark by themselves for no reason is really creepy to begin with. But that was a doppelganger situation. If this is real, it is. Reddit.
He went on a little bit after to say that he thought maybe it was his dad playing a prank on him, but everybody was at the table said no, and he said there was no other way for him to get up there.
All the nopes don't.
But he
cover
said he turned on the
is.
light, and he was just sitting there in the dark and didn't respond to him.
That's the creepy part too, that he didn't respond.
Yeah. So that's just weird. I don't know if that's a glitch.
It's like, did he astral project
involuntarily
down there? That's so weird.
So I put that in there because that one kind of creeped me out.
Kinda?
Okay, that one creeped me out a lot.
Totally.
That bothers me. Like
doppelganger
stuff bothers me.
Yep. Mimicking bothers me.
Like that thing I posted in the Strangers from that was like I don't remember. It was like the prescription commercial. Did you watch that?
I don't know.
You should watch it because
prescription commercial.
It's from Adult Swim.
Okay.
It starts out it's called like something about a bear. It's like a nature show where you're watching this bear, and then it like goes like a YouTube ad comes on.
Okay.
It has a little thing that says click here to skip this ad, and it's a prescription commercial. But from then it goes into like a really weird spot. So you need to watch that.
Okay. Is the picture like a bear?
Yes.
Because you said this is disturbing, and I thought, is there going to be something graphic I don't want to see? So I didn't click on it.
No, but the thing, you need to watch it because it's just...
So there's nothing animal stuff happening?
It's almost like a mini horror movie. It's like so bizarre.
Okay, I will click on it.
And then it's funny because in the YouTube comments, there were people said that they were stoned watching Adult Swim, and they said they're still... traumatized by watching this because you don't know that it's not a commercial. You think it's a commercial, and then all this stuff starts to happen.
Okay,
but it kind of involves a doppelganger and stuff. So but that's kind of what I thought of. So the next story, this one, Oh, this wasn't the one. Okay, I actually have 4. This one isn't spooky, but this one is fascinating to me. These are all supposedly quote unquote true.
Sure.
These weren't from No Sleep.
Okay.
The No Sleep Reddit. These are supposedly true.
Yeah.
This next one says, and this was from a subreddit where somebody asked, like rangers, park rangers and stuff, what was the weirdest thing that they ever experienced?
Ooh, I like it.
My cousin is with the Forest Service in the Montana/Wyoming area, and I decided to go up there with her to literally test the waters. She does hydrology and has had to ride out to the middle of nowhere to test streams and snow runoff to ensure no contaminants. So I thought that sounded fun and wanted to do a bit of a tour with her. We were going to have a camp out there for 2 nights, so we packed all of our gear in saddlebags or saddle bundles, and we headed out. The first day and night were amazing, beautiful scenery and amazing air quality. It is really so peaceful out there. I love that area and wish I got to go there more often. Anyway, we started out on the second day, and my cousin said to me, "Do you want to see something weird?" Of course I said yes. So she led me on a bit of a side journey into this tiny little ravine. We ended up walking about 2 hours away from our actual path that we had laid out. At the very
This
end
is
of
missing 411 just waiting to happen.
No, it is. It is. At the very end of this fold in the land, she dismounts and tells me to get off my horse too. We tie them up in this gorgeous little clearing, and she tells me to follow this tiny wildlife path and bring our little rechargeable radio. It's one of those that you can plug in or wind up, and it acts as a lantern if you really needed to, but that kills the batteries quickly.
We have one of those.
And way out in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness, there's this huge coil of wire sticking out of the ground. The wire itself was not weirdly large like some buried transmission wire, but small, like 10 or 12 gauge wiring for a house. It trailed off then from there into the brush and trees, so naturally we decided to follow the damn thing out of curiosity. My cousin trails behind me as I follow this wire coming straight up out of the ground. It's strung across limbs of trees back down to the ground, and then it snakes around rocks and finally dead ends into an outlet. That outlet is mounted on the side of a desk. It looks like a school teacher's desk from when I was growing up, with a metal base and a fake wood or plastic top thing. No chair, no building, no nothing, just this outlet and this desk. I'm staring confused as all hell at this desk in the middle of a woods when my cousin takes the radio, pulls out the cord, and plugs it into the outlet. It immediately lights up and starts blaring static. The wire was being fed from somewhere. Now, the place where we were had absolutely no road access, no building for miles, and no other people around, and yet there was this desk and a live outlet. No spooky jump scares or bodies, just one lone powered desk deep in the middle of the wilderness. I wish I had taken a picture of it. That's just so weird.
We were just talking offline while I was saving the episode about As Above, So Below.
Yeah.
And I was talking
about
how
I finally watched the movie.
Yeah, and it's so good. And I was talking about how it's so creepy because there are things down in these caverns that just shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Like a car.
Or a piano.
Or a piano,
Yeah.
or some hooded figure.
But that's
sitting
what
in a
this
chair in
is,
the dark.
a desk in the middle, like
It
like a
doesn't
teacher, like a
belong
desk in the
there.
middle of the woods that has live power
That makes no sense.
to an outlet. No, it has.
That's
It
so
makes
creepy.
absolutely no sense, and it's just
If
so.
there were like the remnants of a building around it, that
there
would
wasn't.
maybe
It was
make
out in the middle of the
sense.
woods, and it had a live
so
outlet
weird.
going to it. So
And the wires like going through the trees and
Yeah.
around rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
It just that doesn't make any sense.
no, so it's really creepy
doesn't
and
belong.
weird. One of my favorite comments that a Redditor wrote said something like, he said, "Oh, this one's easy. That's an underground military base, and that's Johnson's desk. Nobody can stand him, so they moved him up." So,
I'd rather have Johnson's desk if
yeah,
I'm being
but
honest.
I could just see that in my head. This desk in the woods.
Yeah.
So
I can picture the kind of desk they're talking about too.
yeah.
That's weird.
Now this one, same thing. Asking rangers or whatever if they had stories. This next Redditor wrote, "Not a ranger, but I used to be in a group that's somewhat like the Scouts, so we spent a lot of time in the woods and some weird crap happened often, but most of the time it was easy to explain. One thing happened, though, that to this day scares the living crap out of me. I was a scout leader for an age group 8 to 10 years old, and we were out on a camping trip. It was the first year we stayed out on that terrain, and it was huge. Normally, we tend to explore the majority of a terrain before the kids arrive so that we are aware of any possible dangerous spots to avoid. This time, that was impossible. Every camp, we do what we call a night game. It's usually a scary game in which the kids have to complete several tasks while the leaders hide and scare the ever-loving crap out of them."
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Obviously, we had to do that also during that camp. We masked up as monsters and hid out in the woods close to the checkpoints that the kids had to pass. While running in between checkpoints, I found an open stretch of forest with little or no foliage, so it was ideal for chasing after them. There was no real room to hide besides behind trees. I couldn't use my flashlight or they'd be able to see me from miles away. It was dark, like the unsettling kind of dark that plays tricks on your eyes and you start imagining things that aren't real. During my stay there, I saw a shadow that was just around my size running past me a few times. I couldn't see it very well, so I assumed I was just imagining things because nothing was there when I turned my flashlight on.
Ugh.
The game was nearing its end, and I saw the shadow again. This time I could see it vaguely standing near a tree not too far away from me. I thought it might be one of the other leaders hiding to scare the kids, and I decided to go over there as it was about time to go back.
That's creepy. Just the idea of like a shadow running by you. Oh, that's really creepy. Mm-hmm. Even the idea of it being another person is really creepy.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the other leaders hiding to scare the kids and decided to go over there. It was about time to head back. I aimed my flashlight towards the tree, and while getting closer, I noticed that there was indeed someone standing there, dressed in what looked like a torn burlap sack, and they had their head covered with a few white plastic bags that looked like they were tied together.
Oh my God.
I started to feel pure dread. Something felt really off. I asked, is everything okay? But they didn't respond. The only thing I heard was this weird sound that sounded like someone knocking on wood. I went a bit closer until I was about 10 meters away from this person. The knocking sound turned out to be that person hitting his head repeatedly into the tree.
Come on.
And I noticed he looked like a male. He was barefoot and his arms and legs were covered with crusted mud. His hands were held in a weird cramped position. I was convinced that this was one of the other scout leaders pulling a prank on me, so I told them to knock it off. He slowly turned his head, looked at me, and started walking towards me.
Nope.
Something inside me told me just run. It didn't matter if it was a stupid prank or not, and I ran away scared as hell. If this wasn't a prank, I felt like I was in serious danger, so I took off as fast as I could. Then I heard him running after me, but I didn't want to turn around to look because I was worried I would run into a tree. I arrived back at the campsite, and every single person that could be dressed like that was already there. They couldn't have gotten there before me, and they sure as hell didn't have the time to change into their regular clothes. I told them what I saw, and I said, you guys gave me a good scare with that. They just all looked strangely at me, thinking I was trying to scare them, and we left it at that. Next day, I wanted to go check out the tree, and I thought maybe some weirdo ate some bad mushrooms and might be out there dying from hypothermia. I took someone else with me just in case, and there was nothing but endless trees. We finally arrived at the tree where I thought I saw the person banging his head, and there was a dead, skinned, decomposing rabbit nailed to the tree. We called the cops. They looked quickly around and just brushed it off as a prank from another scouting group or some kids from the nearby town, and they left it at that.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah.
There's so many things messed up about that.
The guy with the plastic bag on his head, like turning and looking at him and then started walking towards him.
That's no.
Yeah. No. So that's a big nope.
Nope.
And lastly, this is the one that freaks me out. Like, I'm hoping this one is fake.
Wow, it's going to be freakier than the ones you just read.
I think this is fake, but this is like some Silent Hill stuff. This is like Silent Hill stuff.
Okay, I'm ready.
The Reddit user writes, I posted this a long time ago, but when I was younger, my mom was dating this guy who we'll call JB. After a few months, he invited my mom, me, and my brother to go with him and his son, who's about my age, out to his lake house for the weekend. It was right on Lake Michigan, but up in a more secluded area, which was pretty awesome. We got up there, and I, for one, already...
This is out of Michigan or
I don't know,
Wisconsin?
Michigan or Wisconsin. I don't know. We got up there, and I already felt really creeped out. It was a smaller 2, or maybe 3 if you count the big attic, story house that had the living room / dining room / kitchen on the first floor and had 2 bedrooms on the second floor. His grandfather had helped to build the place with the grandfather's dad, and then he lived for most of his life working there as a tailor in the nearby town. We went up to the attic to get some beach toys because that's where JB kept all that stuff, so we didn't have to haul it out every time we went there. Well, when we went up to the attic, I noticed in the corner of the attic, covered in some dust and cobwebs, about 8 mannequins, some just upper torsos and some full body. It's really not that out of the ordinary considering that a tailor lived there.
Sure. There's a commercial like that.
Me and JB's son slept down in the living room on the couch since there were no more beds. Near midnight-ish, I heard one of the stairs squeak a few times. Figuring it was my mom coming to check to see if we were asleep, I whispered to the other boy to be quiet and quickly turned the TV off, and we hid under the covers. After not hearing a noise for a few minutes, I looked out from under the covers and saw 3 of the mannequins in the kitchen moving around.
No.
But it was weird, like their body parts weren't moving, but they were sliding around the kitchen. I swore I was dreaming, but I was so terribly frightened I hid back under the covers with a small yelp and then heard the dragging sound on the floor coming closer, and I peeked out, seeing one of them standing just a few feet away from our couch. I hid back under the covers and shut my eyes tightly, hoping it would go away. I must have fallen asleep. The next morning, I got up and tried not to think more about it, really hoping it was just a bad dream, but when we went back up to the attic to put the beach stuff back, the mannequins looked like they were in different spots and they weren't covered in cobwebs anymore. Don't believe me if you don't want to, but this happened and I've been scared of mannequins ever since.
That's totally Silent Hill.
That is totally Silent Hill. Oh. They're like the thought of mannequins like skittering around, like not moving, but like sliding.
So they don't have heads. Like mannequins don't always have heads.
And then like hearing one come closer to the couch.
That's creepy.
That is my story that I like noped. I'm like, no. Anything with mannequins, no.
Do you know what commercial I'm talking about? The guy buys a house and he goes up into the attic and he's like, Nope. Yep. They're all like, all these mannequins are like sitting around.
Like this weird, like, like they're watching TV or like something. Yeah.
I think they're sitting around a table. It's just really bizarre.
But so that's a story that I was like, no, like that's just creepy. Totally Silent Hill with the mannequins.
Totally.
So there you go. There are a couple Reddit stories that I found intriguing, to say the least.
Reddit is a rabbit hole of scary stuff.
It is. So there you guys go. Hopefully the stories were okay.
I think so.
Now, what do we want to do?
Questions or songs?
Do we want to do questions or songs?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
What do we usually do first? Questions? Let's do questions.
Questions?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We did get a couple more submissions since our last one. So now you guys, your mission while we are on our break coming up is to send us some listener questions. Okay, we got one, but this is 2 questions in one. Hi, Kurt. Hi, Krista. Love the podcast. I know this has been asked many times, but now that we are farther into the seasons, maybe this has changed. What are your 3 favorite episodes? That's the first question.
Okay.
And the second question is, who are your 3 favorite possible guests?
Okay.
And those are the questions.
Okay.
As far as our favorite episodes,
EVP.
The EVP one, because people, I didn't think about that. People,
to me, it's just reliving those memories.
Yeah.
That's number 1 for me of the EVP episodes. Now we have 2 of them.
Yeah. So definitely, because people love the EVP. Mm-hmm. Like, I love hearing, even though I feel guilty, I love hearing how people get, especially if you're like driving in the middle of nowhere at night and you hear some of our EVPs, or you're listening to the podcast and you get creeped out.
It was just so fun to record because it was like reliving our investigations. That was fun. I love those. 2
of my personal favorites that I've talked about are Captain Coochie's Key Lime Pies, because that is so weird, and the Bet Sphere. Like, I love the story of the Bet Sphere.
What else? Gosh, we've had so many. I love the Elisa Lamb.
Yeah. God, that was so long ago. That was so long ago.
Well, the original one, then we revisited it. And I have to pick 3. I mean,
I love our personal stories. Like,
yeah, I do.
Like, people like are, and it's funny because a lot of people, if I mention it to them, they don't know that we have that, because that's one that's disappeared from our feed. It's only available on YouTube. Like, if you go,
every season has listener stories.
No, I'm not talking our personal stories where I talked about my apartment and I talked about the green guy I saw in my bedroom when I was a kid.
The breathing that I had in the ear. Yeah. Again, it's like reliving.
Yeah. So we like, I feel like we like the stories that we're involved with.
Yeah. I would say those are my 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And favorite possible guest
Josh
co-host.
Gates,
Josh Gates is always our number 1. Josh, if you're ever listening and are in the Sheboygan, Manitowoc area,
hit us up.
Please come on the show.
Or we'll Skype with you.
I want to hug him. I do. I want to hug him. I'm cool admitting that. Who else would we really want to talk to?
Tobias would be fun.
Like, we have our people that we know, like Tobias would be great. Coleman, like, we want to have Dash still would love to come on here.
But like famous people.
But as far as famous people, I feel like you and I,
because I don't really.
That's not our thing.
No. And I'm not somebody who knows a lot of names of like people in the paranormal field, because I just don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, people probably expect me to say some Bigfoot researcher, but I don't pay attention to that.
There's Nick Redfern is like a paranormal researcher, and I really, really like Nick Redfern.
Yeah, some of the books Coleman sent me are his.
But you and I, that's not our thing. Is like
I would love to have Dana.
Zach.
Actually, that'd be fun.
He'd get
Honestly,
possessed. He'd get possessed
I'd
down
chat
here.
with Zach. Dana and Newkirk, the Hellier people.
Oh, yeah.
Dana and what's his name? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They have another project coming out, by the way.
Yes, I saw that.
Greg, Dana and Greg
Yeah,
Newkirk.
from Hellier?
That's 3 for me. So
Okay.
Dana and Greg and Josh Gates.
I'm cool with that. I mean, I don't know.
I just think they seem like really cool people too.
Yeah. I'm good with that. I don't know who else.
Stephen King would be cool.
Stephen King would be cool. Maura Murray, come out of
Yeah, that'd be great.
assuming she's alive and living
Come
in
out of
Canada,
hiding.
come out of hiding and
Sure.
reveal yourself on the strange sessions.
Bigfoot would be great.
Bigfoot would be great.
One
but,
of them.
But yeah, that's. I would love to talk to somebody that was involved with the Bet Sphere stuff, but
Sure.
I know I can't. What is her name? Hang on, this is going to drive me nuts.
David Paulides.
Oh yeah, totally, David Paulides. Jerry. Her name was Jerry. I would love to talk to Jerry about the Bet Sphere. Yeah.
One more person. Bryce Johnson. Jeez.
Who's that?
He was in the movie Willow Creek, which I adore. It's a Bigfoot movie. And he also is a co-host of Bigfoot Collectors Club podcast.
Okay, so he's a Bigfoot guy.
Good.
He's a
Yes.
Bigfoot guy.
He is also on Expedition Bigfoot. I think it's Travel Channel. They're coming out with a new season pretty soon. I'm excited about that. Just for his love of Bigfoot. That'd be interesting. Thanks for the questions.
Yeah, thank you for the questions.
We asked and they came through.
All right, the next one, it just has 2 questions written on it, both deep.
Okay.
So you ready?
I guess.
Question number 1, what do you want your legacy to be after you're dead? I
just want people, and I don't know. I just want people that when they think about me, they remember that I made them feel good.
Yeah, totally.
That's all
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
That's what I told my students. I said, I love that I'm a part of your life for a little while, that maybe at some reunion 20, 30 years in the future, you guys will be like, remember Mr. K? He was pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't see myself having some big impact on anyone, but I would like to think that the small interactions I have with people leave them feeling
and
good
that's
about
what
themselves.
I'm taking away from my job is I remember when I was their age how
impressionable.
horrible life was
Yeah.
and the little things that meant a
littlest
lot
things.
that people sometimes don't realize. So that's what I just want to be remembered as someone
who's kind. And,
who's kind. That's what I want to be remembered as, is someone who is kind.
Me too. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to have anything. When I hear that term legacy, I think, oh, geez, that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
I just want people's memory of me to be of good things.
Yeah, not like, what a jerk.
Right.
God, that Kurt was a jerk. No, I don't want that.
I hope I made people smile.
Yeah, I hope I made people's
feel good.
lives better, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay.
And the second part of that is...
Were both of these anonymous?
Yes.
Okay.
The second part is, I know you both talked about your favorite book, but what book do you think had the biggest impact on you in your life? That one's a little harder. I know what I'm going to say because I saw these questions before, so I had time to work on it.
Mine's cliche. It's not going to be To Kill a Mockingbird. That is my favorite
sure
book.
it was going to be To Kill a Mockingbird.
I would say Eat, Pray, Love. And
I've
say
never
it's
read that or
it's
watched
so
it.
Good. It's really good because I think a lot of people have found themselves at a place in their life where the idea of being able to just pick up and start over somewhere and in another country and just have the time and wherewithal to like experience another culture and immerse yourself and like, meditate for a month. And it's like, yeah. I think that book definitely had an impact. I've read it multiple times. I love the movie.
I need to read it. It's
really good.
Huh.
I have the book if you want to borrow it.
I might actually.
Yeah.
I might read that over our break from the podcast.
Okay. I think you'll like it. It's really good.
The one that I picked 2. Again, I picked 2. The first one I picked is I've talked about on here is Watership Down. The book Watership Down,
that's a great
because
book.
that made me kind of realize what literature could be, like how amazing that book is. And it's a book about rabbits, about a bunch of rabbits. But the one that I am going with has had the most impact on my life was, I think I've even talked about this on here. I must have been 10, 11, or 12. And my grandmother, when we lived with my grandmother at the time, had her friend Marge come and stay with us. And she brought like gifts for Corey and I. And I will never forget, I was super young, and she gave me the book Night Shift by Stephen King. That was the first thing I've ever read
the door.
from Stephen King.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by I mean, she shouldn't have given that book to like a 10 or 11-year-old because that's
Right.
rough stuff. But that opened the door for me to appreciate like Stephen King and to appreciate horror fiction. And my favorite story in that book isn't even paranormal or horror at all. It's called The Last Rung on the Ladder.
So it's a collection of short stories.
It's a collection
for
of
people
short
who don't know.
stories. Yeah. It has the short story that eventually became Salem's Lot, or it was a spin-off of Salem's Lot. I don't remember, but it's his short, like early Stephen King short stories are.
Isn't Salem's Lot about vampires?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was a story in there called The Last Rung on the Ladder, and it has nothing to do with anything paranormal or horror, but it's like it showed me that horror like Stephen King can truly be literature.
Oh, yeah.
Like that story in there,
He's
the
very
last
prosy in the way that he writes.
Yeah, like The Last Rung on the Ladder just blew me away, that in the middle of all these stories about vampires and ghosts and murderers and stuff, there was this sad story, just like beautifully written story. So that introduced me also to literature and what literature could be, and it opened up for my lifetime love of Stephen King. So I feel like that one was probably had the most impact. And that, like, I've been into paranormal. Like I said, when I was in 4th grade, my parents had to come in because the teacher said I was obsessed with monsters. So, I mean, I've always been into the paranormal, but this really, like Stephen King, like loving Stephen King, like I feel like blew up my love of the paranormal. So
He just has a way of describing things that immerse you in it.
Yeah, like I said, one of the books that I think about, and to this day I remember reading and visualizing it so strongly in my head, I forgot I was actually reading a book, was It. Like reading the book It for the first time when that came out. There's a scene that I don't think was in any of the movies where one of the boys is in a fallen over chimney, like a huge pipe, like a chimney pipe, and there's stuff happening with like a giant pterodactyl or something weird like that was never made into the movie, but that was so vivid in my head when I was reading it that I'm still blown away by how I forgot I was reading, like I was actually living it. So that's my answer. So cool, good questions. Thank you guys.
Very good.
Song choice. Krista messaged me Thursday and asked what the song topic was, and I totally forgot again. So I said, any song that you want to talk about, you can do. I have 2 of them because I couldn't decide between the 2 of them, and it's the season finale, so they can have 2 songs.
So this is actually not a new song, and I hope I haven't talked about it before. But are you familiar with Alessia Cara?
No, I have never heard.
You will. You have heard her. But anyway, the song that I think kind of made her popular, it was like, I think her first single that came out is called Here. And
what's her name?
Alessia Cara.
Okay, I thought you were talking Irene Cara with Flashdance. I was hoping
No.
it wasn't going to be Flashdance.
It's kind of course, it's kind of dark and moody because that's my thing.
That's Krista.
Are you familiar with Portishead?
Yes, Portishead I've heard of, but I've
Portishead.
never listened to any Portishead.
This song is very reminiscent of Portishead. If anyone's a Portishead fan and you've heard this song, you'll know what I'm talking about. The bass line and just sort of the atmosphere of the song just is so Portishead to me. But anyway, and she's in her early 20s, maybe mid-20s, and she's at a party. She doesn't want to be there. She's not into drinking. She doesn't want these guys hitting on her. She feels very out of place. And the whole song is like, why am I here? I can't wait to get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cool song. I love the
it sounds like a
atmosphere
song. Yeah,
of
it
the
sounds like a
song.
song I would like.
Yeah, today when I was her age, I totally would have wanted to be at that party. But now that I'm 45, I'm like, yeah, that's me. I don't want to be at that party either.
I totally get
But
that.
I just love the
I
song.
totally get that. Cool.
It's such a great song.
Cool. My first song I wasn't going to add until last night. It is a song called Every Wave, and it's by someone named MXM Toon, Toon.
Okay.
I finished Life is Strange 3 last night. That was my Thanksgiving treat to myself. I bought Life is Strange 3 and finished it last night. And this is the song that plays at the end credits.
Oh, cool.
And this girl apparently that sings this apparently did a lot of the songs for Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch. There's a video game called Animal Crossing.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she does songs for this, but I just absolutely love this song. It was perfect for the end credits. And it was such a good game. I'm excited for you to play the Life is
excited
Strange
too.
games. I'll post a video for this. It's scenes from the game, but there's no spoilers on there, so you can watch it. But it's just a really, really pretty song, and I love this girl's voice. But it is the song Every Wave by MXM Toon. And my other song, this one comes with a story, of course. I talked on here about how, what was it? I talked about how I had the dream of making that movie where it was like all in a parking lot of a wedding reception.
Oh, yeah.
Where it didn't actually go into the wedding reception. But I also, this goes way back, I also had the dream of doing a TV show. Like, I used to have these, like, I wanted to write a TV show.
Okay.
And this was almost like Lost-ish before Lost came out. It's kind of basically stealing The Stand, the idea from The Stand and stuff like that. And the idea behind the TV show I wanted to do that I never did was like the main characters are a couple. I don't remember they were married or anything, but they were dating and in love and all that stuff. And they lived on the East Coast and she flew to the West Coast for something. And then something happened, like, you know, like in The Stand, everybody dies. Something catastrophic happens, and either it might have been a weird time thing, but everybody's gone or everybody's dead except a couple people, like in The Stand, where there's only a couple people left. And like the premise of the show was them trying, like people were meeting in Omaha for some reason. I had Omaha as the middle section, and it was him trying to get there and her trying to get there.
Okay, maybe they're big 311 fans.
Why?
They're out of Omaha, Nebraska.
Are they? I think I picked Omaha because of the Counting Crows song Omaha that I love.
Okay.
And I didn't want to use Colorado or Denver because that was used in The Stand.
Oh, sure.
That's where like the good people were based in Denver. So I had Omaha. And like I said, the premise of the show was it was just this group of survivors, some bad, some good. And it was them trying to get together in the middle of the country. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember how many years ago, but I heard a song, and the song is called Mine Again by the band Black Lab. Black Lab had like one semi-hit in the 90s. It was played on the radio, but it was called Time Ago.
Okay.
It's like a very 90s-ish song, but it was called Time Ago, and it was a really good song, but that was like their only semi-hit. But they also had a song called Mine Again. And when I heard that song for the first time, I was like, that's going to be the theme song for my show.
Interesting.
It's like very 90s-ish, but I love the song. And that was always going to be, when I hear that song, it makes me think of this dream I had of making this TV show. So that's my second song.
You can like picture it playing during the opening
playing
credits.
During the opening credits. So it's called Mine Again by Black Lab.
Okay.
And I will post those in the
Two
group.
groups and songs I've never heard of,
Yep.
as usual.
one a female singer-songwriter and the other one like a 90s kind of band.
Is it time for one last pickle joke?
One last pickle joke for the season.
Terrible
It's so
joke.
weird that this is our last episode. Maybe our last episode until the new year.
We're not recording again until the end of January.
Yeah, we're not
Let's
recording
put it that
again,
way.
but maybe if strangers were good, maybe they'll get a Christmas
They'll get a little
Eve
something in
present.
their stockings. What's the difference between a dime pickle and a quarter pickle? Don't think too
15
hard.
cents?
Yep. One more. Why did the pickle wear red suspenders?
Why?
The blue ones were broke. I'm so over this. That definitely deserves a...
That does.
Ugh.
Any reflections on our on this season, or this season 5 of the Strange Sessions?
I'm proud of us for trying something new, video taste.
Which rarely works, but we're trying it.
Successful.
We're trying it.
I'm proud of us for finally getting like a listener subscription up and running.
Yeah.
People have been asking for that for so long, and we were so resistant and hesitant, but I love that we're putting out bonus content. That's exciting to me. It's something we've talked about.
I love our side sessions.
I mean, too.
That is my plan for our break in December is to load up on side sessions, and then my plan for January is to work on the season premiere and to get a little in so I'm not feeling so swamped all the time.
Do we know what the season premiere is
No,
gonna be
but
about?
what we're going to do is what we've done every season
contest?
since. We're going to not a contest, but we're going to have
a vote.
A vote where we're going to have a survey. What's the word I'm thinking of? Where you have, it's going to be a survey where you have a poll. Thank you. Where you have, we're going to have a poll.
We need a break, guys.
We're going to have, we do. We're going to have a poll in the Strangers where you can suggest what you want the season opener topic to be, and the winner I will go with.
Sweet.
So there you go. But that's the plan. But
what is your reflection on season 5?
I feel like I let people down sometimes.
Why? Oh
I feel like
God.
I wasn't able to
No.
do as good as I wanted to
Disagree.
do. I know some people think we don't do enough paranormal episodes, so we're going to try getting back to that in the
Yep, we
next
got some
season.
feedback on that too. BDZ agreed she wants more paranormal.
More paranormal. I really do like the idea of you and I doing an investigation and like recording snippets of us, not maybe the whole episode from the
We could do
investigation.
video too.
Yeah, if we ever get the video camera working.
I feel like that would be okay.
Yeah, but I love the idea of us doing an episode from an actual ghost investigation in a haunted location.
That'd be really cool.
And like talking about what we're doing, and so you guys get to hear kind of what we do on an investigation. I think that would be amazing. But we're gonna veer towards paranormal again, get more towards paranormal. I'm a little worried because I don't know what we're gonna do for topics because I feel like we've done so much.
Strange states, man. There's so many states we have left to cover.
True, that's true. So that's the plan, but I feel like I could have done better but I always do. I always feel like, you know how I am at the end of every episode. I'm like, oh, I feel like that kind of sucked. So
what do you think? Was it okay?
we just want to do better next season. And if there's stuff that you guys want, let us know. Is there stuff you guys want us to do differently? I mean, we're doing this for you guys,
Yeah.
Let us know what you want us to do. Is there anything we can change?
Yeah, and per Kurt's like fear, if there are paranormal topics that we're just totally forgetting about,
Yes,
remind
let us know. Let us know.
Are there famous locations we've never touched on anywhere in the
No,
world?
and I so appreciate people that send me possible topics. I just got one, I can't remember her name now, but it was about the faces that appeared on a floor in like a Spanish town. Like that was going to be a mini mystery because I don't know if we could do a whole episode on that, but we want to get a little more back into the paranormal. I of course want to keep doing the missing 411 spotlights and missing 411 stuff. And I'm still going to do the offbeat mysteries that I'm really fascinated with, but we want to veer more towards paranormal. So I feel
was somebody keeping a running list of our episode? I know Corey said he was kind of working on that.
I don't remember now if anybody is.
Maybe when I'm loading everything to Podbean, I'll be looking at every episode. I can just type everything into a spreadsheet because I think that would be helpful. Because I honestly, 5 seasons in, I'm like, did we cover this or not? So seeing what we've actually covered will help me come up with new ideas.
Tiff was doing was putting all of our episodes on Internet Archive. So they're on there. And I believe all our old original first episodes are on there. So Tiff, thank you for doing that and for all that you do.
Yeah.
And I guess I just want to say this, just end this with thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, we're still, even before Krista and I recorded today, we just said we're amazed that people listen. That you guys.
And that's what I posted on our Instagram
you guys
today
listen. Like, it floors me when I release a new episode and 90 minutes later, somebody is telling me about something from the end of the episode that they've already listened to it.
They listened as soon as it came out.
So it just floors us. And just know that we love you guys and we appreciate you guys more than you know. And for people that have been with us since the beginning, like Jeremy or Josh or Dash or you guys are you guys are more than listeners. You guys are like part of our lives. So thank you so much for just being a part of all this.
And when people say that they're so thankful for the community, we're thankful. They're the ones who made this community.
Yeah.
I mean,
they are. Like, I feel like we are just,
I guess we had something to do with it.
We're what they built the community around.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a community without them, though.
Yeah, and just
Without
like
you guys.
every message we get about how we've cheered somebody up, or we got them through hard times, or we helped someone build their house.
Yeah,
it's just like amazing. So
that keeps us going.
You guys have no idea what that's like for us. So just know how much you're appreciated, and thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Corey, for coming on this season. Thank you, Devin, for coming on this season. We got to get BDZ, got to get Brittany on. We talked about that at the funeral.
The only Zahn
Brittany
who
wants to
hasn't
come
been
on. Devin wants to come back.
It's a bit early for her, though, so.
It's way early for Brittany.
She might just have to stay up.
Yeah.
Don't go to bed.
Yeah.
Don't go to bed.
She's like the opposite of me. Like
she's
sleeps,
like, I'm just going to bed at 6:30.
Yeah. She's going to bed when I'm getting up. So we'll get more people on next season, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
But just thank you guys. I think that's a wrap on season 5.
Yeah, that's
I remember you and I starting this at the old school way back in season 1 when I used to have beer because I was so nervous doing this. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for listening. I mean,
we wouldn't be here without you.
We love you guys more than you know. And I know these next 2 months might be a little rough without us, but we will be back. You're going to get...
Hey, if you miss us that much, go to Coffee and subscribe. There's episodes you've never heard on
But
there.
you know what? I'm just going to say it. You're going to get a Christmas Eve episode from us.
Yeah, you are.
You're going to get a Christmas Eve episode, and we're going to...
They didn't know that either.
I know. Sometime
They
in the
didn't know
middle
that
of
was happening.
January, we're going to release our side session episode about hobo living or van living.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to release that. So you guys do have a little to listen to before we're back, but God willing, we'll both be back in February, late January, early
we'll record
February.
the last weekend in January. So you'll have the regular season will start in February.
But I'll be active on social media. Krista, probably not so much,
not.
but Krista's going to, we both need to recharge our batteries. I know I do. But other than that, we love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Anything else you want to say?
You said it all.
So, Merry Christmas a little early.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. You're going to get a little Christmas present from us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Happy New Year.
Until 2022
Crazy.
and next season, we love you guys. Thank you. And from the Strange Cellar, until next time, stay strange.